This video is sponsored by Sakura Co. and Tokyo Treat, monthly Japanese snack subscription boxes. Stay tuned to learn how you can get extra snacks for free with your first order. If you're watching this video, you've probably played all the great JRPGs on PlayStation 4. You're watching this because you want something new, something different. You want some hidden gems. Well, lucky for you, I've got 5 great ones to share with you. And make sure you watch until the end because the last game is my favorite and probably the most underrated PS4 game ever. To kick things off, we have Sakura Wars. This is an absolutely incredible game that was criminally underplayed. At a high level, Sakura Wars is about 65% visual novel adventure game and 35% mech action game. But that's not what makes it special. What makes this game special is the characters. In the game, you play as Seijiro, a member of the Japanese Navy appointed as the captain of the Imperial Combat Review's Flower Division in Tokyo. And his job is to whip their combat prowess into shape, but also revive their dying theater. It's here where the game truly shines. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever had a friend who had a goal and they were super passionate about it and you just wanted to help them achieve that goal? Well, that's Sakura Wars. Each of the 5 girls has their own dream and you get ample time to get to know all of them. They're all so well written and well acted and you can't help but cheer for them. This is what will push you through to the end of the game. Also, it doesn't hurt that the game has a great art style, fantastic music, and fun mech combat. If you haven't given Sakura Wars a go, please do. I promise you won't regret it. Let me ask you a question. If you had a loved one close to you pass away, what would you do to bring them back? Just about anything, right? Well, that's the premise for Crystar. You play as Rei Hatada, whose sister has died, and to bring her back, you've agreed to battle evil spirits in Purgatory. This premise alone makes the game cool and unique. It's much more personal and not about saving the world, but it's about saving what's important to you. And as the name implies, Rei uses her tears to craft better gear and summon a guardian in battle to dish out big damage. Now, the combat system is an action one. You have up to 4 playable characters that you could swap between. And really at its heart, it's a dungeon crawler with randomly generated dungeons, and the path to the next floor is always marked on your map. Now, I've heard people call this game boring, even repetitive, and maybe it's just my OCD, but I loved exploring to every dead end and fighting every monster. And it's worth fighting each monster because you'll need their parts to craft better equipment. I call this a podcast game. You can basically turn on a podcast or a YouTube video while you're exploring dungeons, and then turn off your podcast for the story moments. Now, the graphics aren't mind-blowing, but I feel like the art style is pretty unique, and it does have great character portraits, and also a pretty underrated soundtrack. If you're looking for something a little different, definitely check out Crystar. Man, digging for all these hidden gems has me working up quite the appetite, so why don't we take a snack break courtesy of today's sponsors, Sakura Co. and Tokyo Treat. Tokyo Treat is a monthly Japanese subscription box full of popular Japanese candy and snacks. Sakura Co. is a monthly Japanese subscription box full of authentic and traditional Japanese snacks from local artisans. Both are delivered straight from Japan to your door and come with a different theme every month, keeping things exciting and fresh. And their goal is to share Japanese culture with the world through the medium of snacking. And I want to share Japanese culture through video games, so I thought this would be the perfect partnership. So let's dig into the Tokyo Treat box first. So this is the box for February, a lot of Valentine's themed stuff. What I really like about this box is that it explains everything. It talks about like the culture of Japan and like Valentine's Day in Japan and how it's different from America and the rest of the world. Definitely one of the cooler things that come in these boxes. Let's dig into the Kit Kats first. This flavor is strawberry milk. Oh, it looks so good. Oh, that smells amazing. Oh yeah, I'm not just saying this because I got sent this. This might be my favorite flavor of Kit Kat I've ever had. That is really good. Wow, that is really good. Ooh, okay, we got a drink here. I think this is strawberry milk. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, I love these, like some kind of gummies with a filling. They're premium, so that's how you know they're good. It's kind of like a haichu. Watch, it probably says haichu in English. Oh, it is haichu, see? This is right there, I'm stupid. I'm like, this tastes like a haichu. It's because it is. If you're looking to get one of the Tokyo Treat boxes, just know this is just jam-packed full of stuff. In fact, if you're getting any kind of snack box from Japan, Tokyo Treat is the biggest one, and it comes packed with the most stuff. So now we're gonna dig into the Sakura Co. box. So once again, it comes with a pamphlet kind of explaining everything. This just explains all the different things in here, wafers, jelly, cakes, but then it's just got this gorgeous art. I mean, look at that. I think that's super cool. So this is a Baumkuchen strawberry. It looks like some kind of strawberry cake. Let's check this out. Very light, but still really flavorful. You can really get that that strawberry taste. Ooh, so we got some wafers with like some strawberry cream in them. Let's check this out. Oh, whoa, that really hits you at the end. Oh, wow. Just when you think you're done with it, you're like, oh, okay, it doesn't really taste like much. Boom, it just kicks you with this strawberry flavor. Wow, that's really good. I feel like I'm saying this is really good a lot. That's because it is. So I don't know if the camera is capturing all this, but between these two boxes, this table is completely filled. So if you want your own box, follow the link in the description and use my coupon code. You can get extra snacks on top of this as if that wasn't enough. And thank you so much to Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. for sponsoring this video. Please consider buying a box. It really helps out the channel. And now let's get back to the video. But these snacks are mine. You gotta get your own. Now for you old school JRPG fans out there, I got the perfect game. Pure Solar. Originally, this was released for the Sega Genesis as a homebrew game back in 2010, but eventually it got an HD release in 2014. In a nutshell, Pure Solar is kind of like the Lunar series. It's a 4-party setup with turn-based combat. You'll be exploring dungeons and cities with a little splash of puzzles. Obviously, what grabs you immediately is the gorgeous art style. Not only is there masterful sprite work, but the environments and character portraits look amazing too. And what's really neat about this HD version is that you can actually toggle the graphics between the HD and the classic graphics. Now, the combat system isn't anything special by today's turn-based standards, but if you like it old school, then you'll probably dig this. And just as a warning, this is really meant for old school JRPG fans. It doesn't have a lot of modern day quality of life touches, but if you're into old school JRPGs, then you probably will dig Pure Solar. Now keeping it old school, next we have Cosmic Star Heroine. Now if you're interested in retro style JRPGs with modern quality of life features, then this is your game. For one, there's no grinding, if you don't want to. Each area has a set amount of enemies, so whenever you explore a certain area and you've killed them all, that's it, you're ready for the boss. It's really more about the strategy and combat. And speaking of combat, it is a turn-based system with a cool twist. Each character has a unique set of abilities that they can only use once per battle until you refresh all your moveset. This requires you to be a little bit more thoughtful, and it makes boss fights way more interesting and intense. And as far as the story goes, you're essentially a space cop. But in typical JRPG fashion, you start off on a simple quest, but it unravels into a much bigger adventure. And one thing I like about it is that it's fairly short, clocking in at around 12 hours. So if you're like me and you have a busy life but still want to play JRPGs, this might be the perfect game for you. Last but certainly not least, we have Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus. I've said it before and I'll say it again, this is PS4's most underrated game. Now, the elevator pitch for Tokyo Xanadu is Persona with action combat on a much smaller budget. You have the traditional Japanese high school, you travel to another world to fight monsters, you get new combat powers, and there's bonding events with your friends. But what I think makes Tokyo Xanadu stand out is that it takes that formula and makes it unique, and it makes it its own. Of course, the action combat helps a lot to make it interesting, and in the dungeons there's much more platforming than just running around and exploring. And you're encouraged to play every character because different monsters in dungeons have different weaknesses, so you can't just play the same characters over and over again. And there's also some really different side activities to anything you've seen in Persona before. You've got skateboarding, you can go to the arcade and play card games, whack-a-mole, and much more. And it's kind of hard to put into words, but Tokyo Xanadu just has its own unique vibe. Between its art style, characters, and music, it just feels really fresh and different. Admittedly, it does have kinda anime tropey characters, but at the same time, they feel fleshed out, and when the game's over, you'll miss them. They'll feel like real friends. Now, I will say that the intermission episodes between chapters kinda drag the game down a little bit, but thankfully they're short, so if you just skip the story moments, you won't be missing too much. Intermission episodes aside, Tokyo Xanadu is an absolutely awesome game, and if you haven't checked it out already, you absolutely need to. And special thanks again to Sakura Co. and Tokyo Treat for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description or the pinned comment to pick up your own box today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.